Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the New Jersey, aka Big J. And with that, let's get into it. We're going to be on Trident. You guys know before this video gets kicking, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. We are on the path to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So, if you're new to the channel, or if you've been here a while and you've been hesitant to click the big red button down there, highly recommend you do so. I bring good content every single day for you guys. So, be a part of something great. Now, we are in New Jersey. It's a ship I know pretty well. Why do I know it so well? Because I have 3 separate Iowas in this game. And I play them all. A lot. I know, it's shocking, right? But for reals, like each of them feels a little bit different, but very familiar to me. So I'm pretty confident when I take an Iowa-class battleship into the fight. Speaking of which, this is something an Iowa-class battleship knows all too well, running into destroyers. If you know where that reference comes from, leave it down in the comments below. Which Iowa-class battleship had a friendly ramming incident with a friendly destroyer? That is a question for everybody. First one to get it correct in the comments, I'll pin you. Now, we're on Trident. It's a pretty small map. You're in a crossfire pretty much no matter where you're at on this map. Everybody can reach out and touch you at these higher tiers. So you got to be careful. We shoot at the Synop here. He's actually in reverse. Didn't recognize that until it was too late. So we unfortunately don't get crap. Harbin starts to make himself known. Unfortunately, it's right as I'm going behind the island. So I don't have a chance to shoot him either. But we're going to try to put ourselves in a position. Now, notice that somebody is in the B cap. This is huge information to have. Alright? These are the little keys that you have to start paying attention to, especially as an aggressive battleship captain. Alright? Y'all know, I love to be aggressive in my battleships. It's no joke. I do love it. But keying in on, hey, there's a destroyer in the cap in the middle of the bay, cap, so that you turn away and potentially avoid the torpedoes that, you were spotted, so there's a good chance are on the way. And sure enough, wait for it, any moment you'll see, there they are. You knew they were coming. It's almost like we can see the future, right? You just gotta play smart. Torpedoes are not that difficult to dodge as long as you know they're there. The ones that you don't know are there, those are the ones that are difficult to dodge. Now you can see Harbin's trying to smoke up. He's on the backside of an island. We take the shot over the top of the island, hoping for the best, and wham! Out of nowhere! Boom! He gone. He's just out of here. Those things are so incredibly easy to def strike. It's incredible. And they have very few hit points, so just one Citadel is enough to send them back to port usually. It's pretty disgusting. But yeah, right out the gate. Dude thought he could smoke up. It was too late. That helps quite a bit on that side of the map. That's a lot of DPM gone. You'll notice there are 3 destroyers in this map, and all 3 of the caps currently have a destroyer in them. But Spartan, how do you know this? Well, the B cap had somebody capture it. Can't spot them. The A cap has somebody in the cap. Can't spot them. And the C cap has somebody in the cap. And they're not spotted. So, we know where all 3 of their destroyers roughly are. Now, the fact that the B cap now no longer has a destroyer in it lets me know that there's something going on there. But here we have La Foudre coming around the corner, and I mean, this is just beautiful looking. Bunk. Yep. He's gonna feel that one in the morning. But don't worry, we've got the rear turret. Remember, the rear turret's still not to the island yet, so we get to shoot that around the island. Of course, it's a lot harder to see. I probably should have changed my camera angle to looking from the rear gun there, because we actually missed that shot. That was just a bad shot. Now you can see USS Black getting spotted. He's getting shot. That's a radar destroyer with good guns. So our guy's probably in a little bit of trouble here, even if he does smoke up. But he's a pretty solid gunboat in his own right, and if we can maybe give him a little bit of help... Nope. As soon as we take the shot, we hit the island, and he manages to finish him off with the help of the battleship / cruiser on the other side. Now, you'll notice that I'm in the cap. I do make a mistake of not staying here. I look at where everybody is located on the map, and I'm thinking, okay, if I move over here, The Synop on the right side, not that big of a threat. He's probably going... Sorry, I'm yawning. But he's probably going to be focused to the guys to his front. But notice the Akatsuki just took out the guy in the cap over there, which is not ideal. We take a shot over the top of the island at the Iowa. That's going to get the Iowa's attention, and you can see that there's still a destroyer trying to torpedo me, which is not ideal. But because we got this Iowa's attention, unfortunately we are not going to get this base capped because our destroyer has decided not to capture the base with us. He has now moved out. And trying to capture a base when you got people's attention in a battleship is a gigantic pain in the neck. You can see he put a perfectly placed shot right into the superstructure. That's the mark of a decent battleship captain, okay? When they're not shooting the belt, they're not giving in to the urge to get those giant hits. If you know, and by the way, Synop did decide to shoot me, unfortunately, so that's unfortunate. But if you know that you have the ability to... not pin or not overmatch somebody, you've got to go for that superstructure. I don't know how many times I've told people this. You don't always have to switch to HE. Sometimes you do. Sometimes, you know, superstructure saturated, you're hitting for like, you know, 1,000 to 2,000 damage instead of doing more. So sometimes switching to HE is the better option. But most of the time you can get away with just using AP in a battleship. It is a thing. Even in destroyers, like against destroyers, you can get away with just using AP. Because more often than not, your AP overpins are going to do just as much, if not more damage than your HE. Especially at higher tiers where the destroyers actually have armor that can shatter your HE shells. So keep that in mind. A lot of people bring that up. Well, Spartan, what if you were in this situation? Do you load HE? And I tell them the same thing every time. Personally, there's only a few ships in the game at higher tiers and battleships that I load HE. Like, it just does not happen. Very, very rarely do I load HE in any American battleship. And very, very rarely do I load HE in any other battleship that I play. With the exception of Conqueror, Temeraire, the Burgonia, the Vanguard, couldn't think of it for a second there, and the Marlborough. Those are the exceptions. I'm sure there's a few others that I haven't played, like Lion and stuff, but most of them are British battleships. You guys get the deal. Like, British battleships HE is disgusting, especially if you have the Azure Lane Nelson Commander and you have the Big 7 perk. Like, the HE is disgusting. Not only is it slapping you for huge damage, but it's also setting fires. Whereas I personally struggle to set fires in regular battleships. I can generally do more damage with my AP. So that's why I personally stick with the AP. Now here we've got a Brandenburg, again, pushing out one at a time. These guys have not learned their lesson. I kind of overestimate how fast he's going here. We overlead him a little bit, and we hit towards the front of the ship, but it looked like it was going to be good. He did turn in at the last second, so we get a decent hit out of that. Not the craziest hit. Unfortunately, now that we've left the cap, the destroyer has gotten back into the cap, and he's going to get the base cap, and we don't get any of the XP for it. Had he gotten into the cap earlier, we would have had some XP for that as well, which would have helped our score at the end of the game. We're at 80,000 damage. It's not like we've had a bad game. We just haven't had that ridiculous game that you guys are used to. We've been very mobile, constantly moving around, looking for good potential damage out there, putting ourselves in a position where the team can focus us but not remove us, so that our team can take advantage from one side of the map to the other. Okay? That's the role of a battleship. You're supposed to get into those situations where you can potentially get crossfires. You're supposed to get into the situations where you can absolutely ruin other ships. But you're also supposed to be in a position where you're not completely invisible the entire game. Yes, it's good to save hit points where you can, but it's also good to trade hit points so that your teammates stay alive a little bit longer as well. And doing this in a balanced way. Not always the way I do things. You guys know I always say this. I am not the best role model for the average player. The reason being is because I make these videos to be entertaining. Alright, so I tend to be a lot more aggressive than most people should be in World of Warships Legends. And a lot of times it does not work out. through the power of editing and getting to pick and choose which games you guys get to see, it makes it look more usable than maybe it should be. But I do have quite a bit of success being an aggressive battleship captain, and I believe that if you do pay attention to all the little cues, like paying attention to where the destroyers are located, shooting at the destroyers when you get the chance, making sure that you're paying attention to where the torpedoes could be coming from, all of that leads to good results for your team. Doesn't always mean you're going to have the best game, but it should lead to good results. Now, here is a critical error. We just shot a destroyer. Why would that destroyer be spotted broadside onto us, guys? Anybody? Does anybody have an idea why a destroyer would be spotted broadside on in front of a battleship? He's launching torpedoes, and unfortunately, I decided to open up to shoot the Iowa at the time that he decided to torp us, which is real unfortunate. He almost straight up death struck us right there. That third torp just went right under the rear of the ship. But we not quite able to snag the Kraken on this one. But still a solid game. 2,340 base XP. Would have had a little bit more there. Probably closer to 3K if we'd have got that cap. But unfortunately, not able to pull it off. 127,000 damage, though. A solid, fun game that showcases the fundamentals of being an aggressive battleship. Keeping your head on a swivel, paying attention to the keys that are there in the game to give you an idea of where the destroyers are so that you're not just getting torped into oblivion. And definitely don't do what I did at the end. You see a destroyer broadside in front of you, assume torps are on the way, point your bow towards the thing that's broadside to you, and that gives you the best possible chance to, at minimum, take the minimal amount of torpedoes in that situation. Instead of taking 2, I take 1, I survive against the Iowa, and, you know, the game ends. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.